Coming out to friends and family, more specifically, their friends and family. It's so much fun, you guys. It's so stressful. I think anybody who's ever had to, like, come out would realize that, like, there's this kind of understanding in, like, a straight cis community where it's just like, oh, you just come out, like, just once, and that's, like, it. When that's not at all how it works. It's like, hold on, let me come out on, like, a daily basis. And that can sometimes be, like, really troubling. It's like, oh, I'm having a really dysphoric day, and now I have to out myself to you, and I have to worry about whether or not this changes whether you actually view me as male or not, because somehow it's like, disclaimer. Like, no, motherfucker, there's no disclaimer. It doesn't work like that.
Sometimes it's just like, oh, yeah, I'm trans.
Right.
And people are like, oh, she, he.
Right?
And then you're like,
it's
like,
wait,
you've never done this before. Like, where did this come from?
Exactly.
You called me he before, and I was fine with it. If I didn't address it before, don't change it now.
Right. Or what's your real name? Nick. Nick is my real
that.
name. That's my real name.
Yep.
Thanks, you guys.
Just like everyone calls me the right name, they call me Hayden. There's no other name.
Exactly.
Nothing.
What was that? Oh, it's Nicholas. If we're
if
full,
you
the
go
four
through
formal
it.
thing. Yeah. No, what the fuck? I'm cursing a lot on your channel. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
So I was really concerned, like super duper concerned. The first time I met my partner's parents, I was not looking forward to it. And my partner was like, nah, it's cool, it'll be fine, and if they aren't okay with it, like, who cares, it's not their relationship. And I'm like, yes, great mentality to have, but this is still really stressful. Like, what? So the concerning thing was, like, my partner had never dated a guy before, so it was one of those things where their parents were automatically like, what's going on? And I was there with my best friend from, like, childhood, who's a cis female, and they actually just assumed that her and I were dating, and that was kind of odd to navigate. It was like, but actually I'm dating your son, and I don't know whether or not to, like, correct that, because you are perceiving me as male, and thus you just think that I'm heterosexual, which, you know, I understand. That's cool, whatever. But at the same time, like, I don't know how to tell you this, but your kid's gay for me, so, like, that's a thing. And it can be troublesome. Like, so far, I haven't really had any direct experience with people being kind of not so cool about it. As far as, like, you know, my partner's friends or family. It's just something that gives me a lot of anxiety. Like, okay, alright, we're coming out to your friends today. Because it's not just like an I'm coming out. It's like we're coming out, because I'm coming out as this, but we're also coming out as like, hey, yes, could you please recognize that we are in a gay relationship? So there's like two fronts there where it's like, this might not be okay. Because, like, you know, you might be okay with, like, me being trans or me being gay or, you know, whatever. But once that involves somebody that you care about, that can take on new dimensions.
It can change a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, you know, I wouldn't be, like, I love the gay, lesbian, trans community, but
until it comes into my life, and then I'm like, burn it with fire.
Then it's like, unless it's my child, which I hate so much. It's like, you know, I have gay friends and blah, 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 but if my child, it's like, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't let your, if you wouldn't accept your child as being gay or lesbian or bi or trans or whatever, but you accept your friends, I don't think you really accept your friends.
Exactly. Actually, like, friends and family, as far as my partner goes, have been really cool. Something that's been kind of problematic for me, anyway, is, like, we didn't have a whole lot of communication on, like, whether or not it's okay for them to out me to people. Because, like, they didn't see it as, like, a big issue. They were like, you know, this is part of who you are. It's not necessarily who you are. And, you know, I just might explain that to some people so they understand, like, you know, you really need to respect his pronouns, or, like, there's certain things that he's not comfortable with, which I understood, but in the beginning I took it as, you're trying to, like, include a disclaimer on, like, our relationship and say that you're not really gay, and that was, like, really, really problematic for me. It, like, made me super dysphoric for a little while, and it was like, okay, but just because I don't have a penis doesn't mean that we're not in a gay relationship. And, you know, it was one of those things where they weren't doing it because of that. They were just doing it so that way, like, people understood and respected things and, like, knew that, like, you know, there's certain things that, like, it's just not cool. Ghost radio. So that was something that we talked about, but also hasn't really been that much of an issue. I think actually more of my personal people in my life have been a little bit more wary of that, where it's like, okay, so you're a guy, and you're going through this transition, but you still like guys. Like, don't get me wrong, I just dig people. Like, that's my sexuality. Nick digs people. If you're cool, you're cool, and that's what it is.
Exactly. Nick digs people.
But, like, I, for the most part, have only dated guys, so they're like, well, if you're gonna date guys, why don't you just stay as blank? And it's like, okay, cool, but doesn't work like that. So fuck off.
It's not the same thing as sexuality. Like,
some people have tried to, like, invalidate my gender because they're like, but you like guys, so.
And then there's always the question, like, one of the first questions people ask when you come out to them, they're like, so what does that make you sexual orientation wise?
Or what does that make me if I found you attractive?
Yeah. Like, well, I mean, what it makes you is up to you, but it better be in the orientation that you see me as male.
Right. Yeah.
And what it makes me doesn't matter to you, because that is my problem.
Exactly. It doesn't concern you. Like, okay, so let's go from that into the whole, like, what's going on biologically thing. And it's like, so some people, like, I will actually talk to them about it. Like, it's literally my discretion, it's my body, and it's about whether or not I feel comfortable talking to you about it, or, like, honestly, if I think it even matters if you know. Like,
yeah.
What? So I've had people ask, not directly to me, but ask someone else in reference to, like, my relationship with my partner about, like, whether or not I have a penis, and whether or not, like, we have sex, and how do we have sex, and have you had the surgery yet, and, like, all this stuff, and it's just like
surgery.
Exactly. Number one, the surgery. Okay, all right.
There's not just one, and you don't have to have it. And that's one thing on dating sites. Like, people will be like, "Have you had any surgeries? Like, what do you have?" And then, like, one guy was like, you know, actually, I identify as bi, so me being male and you having the female parts would work out great. And I'm just like, that is not how it works.
What?
You having the female parts, that's not...
What?
That's not what it is.
I have skin. I have skin, you're right.
I have skin, and I have hair, and a face.
Right, yep.
Female parts, the male parts.
Mm-hmm. You know, those human parts.
Yeah, I've got the human parts.
Right, yeah.
Humanity all up in here.
I have a heart. Yeah.
And I was just like, no.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
My usual thing is just, like, this understanding where it's like, if you aren't sleeping with me, talking to me in that sense, or going to be either A or B, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it's none of your fucking business. Like, just to be blatantly honest, it doesn't matter.
Like, how about you show me yours?
Exactly.
And then I'll decide if I really want to show you mine.
Like, oh, do you have a vagina? Okay, so how does that work exactly? Like, is that problematic? Like, you have a penis, like, but is it really a penis? Because, like, how big is it? Like,
do you have a vagina or penis? How does that work?
Right,
exactly?
Like, have you had, like, the surgery for it? You know, like, you know, did you like, how does that work? Like, I'm confused.
Like, why don't you...
It's not, what? Like,
educate yourself,
right,
and come back.
Do I look like a Google page? No! So...
There are things all over Google, all over YouTube. Just go watch one. You could even watch the surgeries.
Oh my God.
The surgery. You could watch whatever you think the surgery
right,
is
exactly.
on
Like
YouTube.
there's so many
full detail.
Even just for like sexual, like gender reassignment surgery, as far as that goes, there's more than one surgery that just goes into that surgery.
Yeah.
So
it's not just like, oh, there we go, I'm done.
Yep. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. And somebody asked me, she was like, "Do you just get like a penis transplant?" Oh my god, what?
Yes, they just chop it off another guy,
Right?
and then they just
Yeah.
put it on there, and I'm like, cool.
Yeah, dicks for days.
Yeah. Dicks for days. That should be on the t-shirt.
That'll be like my top surgery font.
Dicks for days. Yes.
So yeah, I've actually had less problems with like queer identifying individuals, and I don't know if that's in part because like they're just kind of more aware because they're a part of like the LGBT plus community, or if it's because like they just kind of care less and like have the understanding that it's not really about people's parts, it's about like, I don't know, things that make them attractive outside of fucking them.
Like personality and like emotions and
Right.
like being human.
That's insane.
Like, hey, all you need to know, I'm not a dog. I am human, and it's not illegal to date or marry me, so...
Right. Yeah.
Hey, that was the end of part 2. If you, for some reason, watched part 2 without seeing part 1, again, if I figure out how to do the boxes, I'm going to have a box here right now where you should go check out part 1 on the TransitionAddiction channel that I'm in. And now there's also a part 3. Part 3 will be right here. And you should go check that out because that'll have a lot more information. Evasive questioning from people towards your partner, other kind of topics. So yeah, go check that out. If you again have questions, comments, concerns, comment below. I'm going to have all the links to our Tumblrs, our YouTube channels, everything below as well. Just feel free to message us or anything, comment if you have any questions. Yeah, enjoy part 3.